Balancing a full-time job and studying for the CFA exams is tough. Trust me, I've done it. But I've managed to make it through all three, and so can you. I'm going to chat about what I did and how I managed to get through those and some tips and tricks for you to also do the same. My name is Charlie. If you don't know, I like to make finance-related videos and also just talk about my journey on the CFA program. If you like anything here, just drop a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll get back to you. First things first, my biggest suggestion is always to start studying for your exam as early as possible. So registration normally opens around 9 months before the actual exam date, and you can then get access to all of your learning content. And the best thing to do is actually to register as soon as that registration period opens, whilst you've got that early registration window where you get the cheaper fees. I wrote level 1 the first time and I failed it the first time, and one of the biggest reasons for that is because I left it too late. I waited another extra 3 months on top of that, so I actually then had only 6 months to study for the exam, and there's a lot of content to get through specifically for level 1. I learned my lesson for this, and when I registered again after I'd failed my level 1, I registered on the very first day and I got access and started studying immediately. And I felt a lot more prepared because I had a lot more time to go through the content and actually prioritize revision at the end. So my biggest suggestion there, always register and start studying early. You'll thank yourself towards the end. Secondly, I suggest setting a realistic study planner very early on. One of the things I've found, and I've heard from a lot of CFA candidates, is they start hard and what ends up happening is they burn out very quickly. And this is actually quite a difficult thing to do, but how I managed this is when I was going through my level 1 the first time, I actually came across a website called 300 Hours. I'm going to drop a link in the description below. I have no affiliation with them, but they helped me on my journey, so I'd like to share it with you guys. But they have a free study planner that you can use and you can tailor to yourself. And they show you the recommended order to study the modules in and where to focus more of your time and effort. But what is quite nice is you can build in sort of how many hours you actually want to do to put towards the exam and how that works out on a day-to-day basis. I use that study planner just to keep track and log all my hours and everything, and just get me through the whole study side. I found myself doing a lot more hours than what was recommended for the 300, and after I tracked it, level 1 I did around 550 hours, when I did level 2 also around 575 hours, and when I did level 3 around 525 hours. So definitely way more than what was recommended, but just having that study planner actually made a huge difference and helped me just to plan my study times and days and everything like that. I know some people obviously like to study in that differently, so the way I'd structured it was quite nice. I would go to work in the morning, and I'd arrive early at work because I don't like sitting in traffic. So I'd get to work and I'd still have an hour before work starts. So I'd sit in one of the meeting rooms and just start getting some of the studying underway. If I ever got a chance during my lunch break, I'd also do some more, and in the evenings I would normally dedicate an hour to an hour and a half, just dependent on time. But what the goal was normally to do was about 2 hours a day, and Friday then being my study break day. Saturday and Sunday, then I tried to prioritize about 3 hours each. And then this definitely helped me get in a lot of hours for that exam. Thirdly, I know this is a lot of question every student asks. Should I be using an exam prep provider? Are they actually worthwhile? Which one should I use? So I'm going to tell you, you can actually do all 3 exams without using an exam prep provider. They do help though. I promise you probably are going to get value for money if you do use them. For level 1, I didn't use an exam prep provider. I found that the free resources that CFA gave you in the learning portal was more than sufficient to help you. Level 2, I did use an exam prep provider based in Joburg here in South Africa called Edge Designations, and I really used that more for the revision side. I came across them because the CFA South Africa They offer free revision guides and that to students. Even if you're not from South Africa, you can get access to those. They actually post all of those on a central place, and you can go and get access to that. I'll leave a link in the description below. It takes you to a site called Asset TV where you just have to sign up, and it's really just a video site for dedicated finance professionals. And when you sign up, just say there that you're a CFA student, and that'll give you free access and all of that. So what they used to do is they would take you through a section and just explain everything to you in that time slot. So they usually organized basically one little chapter in a module, and they did 2 hours in the evening, and they gave us 3 modules basically before the exam. But every year they would do different modules, so that library of videos basically covered almost every single little module in the exam, and was very helpful. I actually enjoyed the way that structured everything, and they actually gave us discounts as the closer you got to exam, just to prepare and stuff. So I used their revision package, which basically gives you all of their notes, videos, and gives you access to mock exams that they've made. And having those extra mock exams made a huge difference, especially for level 2 being the most difficult. Level 3, I didn't use an exam prep provider. I found that one a lot better. I wasn't sure about using exam prep providers on it because I was the first group to write where you had the specialized pathways. So I was very worried that maybe any provider wouldn't yet have made content in that all for the specialized pathways, specifically because I was choosing one of the pathways that wasn't the traditional one, being portfolio management. Number 4, and I think this is a big one that everybody also overlooks, is managing expectations with your friends and family. Unfortunately, when you do start studying for the CFA program, it is going to consume your life. Like I said, I was trying to do at least 2 hours a day on top of full-time work, with another 3 hours on Saturdays and Sundays. And just to try and keep that up consistently is quite difficult, because you end up having to choose between going out with friends and family and doing things like that, or going on a holiday and then neglecting your studies, or studying and then being left out when it came to going out and those things with friends. Fortunately, I was actually quite lucky. My family and friends were very accommodating to that. But sometimes it wasn't very nice. I had my friends go on trip without me, but it is unfortunately the way it is. But having now completed is absolutely amazing, because I can now do all of that. It makes me appreciate it a bit more. But one thing is, definitely expect that and have those conversations with them, because it is going to make things more difficult, especially if you are in a relationship as well, because you're going to be giving up a lot of time for that. This is probably the one thing that helped me the most when I wrote my exams, is dedicating the last month to revision. What I would do is so my company actually have a leave policy for when it comes to studies, and they usually give you the day of the exam and 2 days before. But what I would actually do is I would take an annual leave for at least 2 to 3 weeks before the exams. And all I did for those 2 to 3 weeks before the exam was mock exams and revision over and over again. I know the portal only gives you, I think, 2 mock exams, but just keep doing them, reset them, and keep doing them over and over. Practice, the more practice you could do, the absolute better. And the other thing I found myself doing as well is going to reset all the practice questions in all the modules. I basically redid them all in that period as well, and that made a huge difference for me. And it just helps you brush up on those modules that you're not 100% sure on and everything. And also a really good tip is there are lots of prep providers out there that give a lot of free resources, and you can find them on YouTube here as well. So literally just go and search the topic you're struggling with, and I can almost guarantee you there's a prep provider who's made some videos on it. In fact, Mark Meldrum is probably the one who's got the most videos out there. They are a bit out of date, you'll see, but a lot of the content is still 100% applicable. Just ignore where the sections and all of that he refers to, but the content, a lot of it hasn't changed, and he explains everything incredibly well. I promise you, if you follow those, it's going to make a huge difference when it comes to writing the exam, especially if you failed and you're now trying to find a way to do something better the second time around. I can guarantee you these are going to help. If you like this and you want to hear more specific CFA content, drop a comment below. I'll be sure to respond. And if you like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you. Cheers.